Good morning, church. For our devotion this morning time, I want to just pick up on few young people from the book of Daniel, and particularly Daniel. Daniel 1 says that King Nebuchadnezzar wanted some of the Israelites from the royal family, young men without any physical defect, handsome, showing aptitude for every kind of learning, well-informed, quick to understand, and qualified to serve in the king's palace. Guess who was picked up? Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These were the 4 young Jewish boys who were selected for this training. And all of them would have been between the ages of 15 to 19. Daniel means God is my judge. And I strongly feel that he took his name very seriously. As a prime candidate for the foreign services, he was given the best of food right from the king's palace and king's table. But there was one problem. Most of these food, they must have been offered to the idols, and some of them would have contained blood, which was against the Jewish law. So the first thing that I wanted to look into the story is a life of purpose. Daniel 1:8 says that Daniel purposed in his heart that he will not defile himself, that he will not compromise his conviction. When he took up a stand, his friends also got influenced. So all of them took up a stand saying that we will not eat from that food. They took up a challenge. They go and meet the head cook there and tell them, for the 10 days, just give us food which is normal, vegetables and water. And after 10 days, you test and see who looks better. These youngsters took a stand right from the beginning. And I want to challenge all the young people who are listening to me. We are surrounded with various cultures. We're surrounded and pressurized from every corner, from our college to our schools to our offices. And if you are listening to me this morning time, I want to challenge you to take up a challenge not to defile yourselves. Smoking, drinking, foul language, pornography, bad relationships, you don't have to. Why? Because this will just take the purpose of your life. God has a purpose. And when you take a stand for God, God will honor you. Look the way that God honored these young people. Daniel 1:20 says that in every matter of wisdom and understanding about which the king questioned them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and the enchanters in the whole kingdom. Isn't that amazing? They were 10 times better than all the normal kids. Not 1, 5, 10 times. They were on the top because they took a stand for God. God honored them. If you are studying and if you're just giving up on your studies and thinking that I just can't do it, you quit, I want you to just rise up again. Take up this challenge. Honor God. Proverbs 9:10 says, the fear of the Lord is a beginning of wisdom. You learn to fear God. James 1:5 says, if any of you lack wisdom, let them ask God, who will give them generously without finding fault. Isn't that amazing? Ask God to give you wisdom. Fear God. The second challenge that I want to give you is to all the corporate world, a life of witness at your workplace. Daniel 6:4 says, the administrators and the satraps tried to find ground for charges against Daniel in his conduct for the government affairs, but they were unable to do so. They could find no corruption in him because he was trustworthy, neither corrupt nor neglectful. Oh, what a testimony that he had at work. People could not pinpoint anything against his work ethics. Now that's the kind of faith that we need to display at our workplaces. People are watching us. How honest you are, how ethical you are. Do you come on time? Are you stealing anything? Are you cheating, lying, spiking up the numbers, or doing unethical ways to get promotion or business? People are watching. We need such a character. And what happens? How do you handle success? When God gives you a promotion, or you meet the targets, or you get a star award, how do you handle the success? For Daniel, when he cracked the case, he told the king the dream. The king was absolutely zapped. He said, how did you do that? Look what Daniel said. Daniel 2:27 and 28. No wise man, enchanter, magician, or diviner can explain to the king the mystery he asked about. But there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. He gave the glory back to God. You need to do the same thing. The third thing that I want to just challenge is a life of prayer. Daniel's enemies hoped of accusing of something wrong that they could find in his work, but they found none. Daniel 6:5 says, the men said, we will never find any basis for charges against this man Daniel, unless it has to do something with the law of his God. There was only one place they could corner him, and that was for his prayer life. So they made a decree saying that for the next 30 days, nobody is supposed to pray to any other God except the king. And this was sealed by the king. But that did not change Daniel's character or his habit of prayer. Still, 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and evening, he lifted up his hands and he prayed, knowing very well if he is caught, he will be put in the lion's den. Now, that was the conviction, but it all started as a teenager. It went on all the way when he was an old man. He did not stop praying. I want to just ask you, what keeps you away from prayer? Busyness, threats, or somebody saying like you're too busy to pray? What keeps you away from praying? For Daniel, even his life did not matter. His prayer life was solid because he practices daily for a number of years. No wonder God sent his angels, shut the mouth of lions. Again, God gave him victory. From the life of Daniel, we learn 3 things. A life of purpose. Purpose in your heart, not to defile yourself. A life of witness. He lived a very exemplary life at his workplace. A life of prayer. His Christian life, his communion with God was solid. He never broke that. Daniel, a young captive, surrounded by paganism. They even changed his name. He was a teenager, but God wanted him to be there, and they took their role very seriously. They knew that God had a purpose for their lives. What about you this morning time? May God challenge you to live a life of purpose.